Hi, my name's Laura Birch. I'm an Admiral nurse based in a community setting in Cheshire East, and I'm really excited to be able to present at this year's summer school. Today, I'll be focusing on a topic called life story work, which relates very closely to reminiscence, where we look back at a person's life and we look at the value of this in dementia care. So, the aims and objectives for today's session. We aim to understand the value of life story work. So we're going to look at how it can impact a person with dementia and their families. We're going to look at how it might help you as a care worker or in your current field of work. We're going to also explore how life story work promotes the theory of personhood. So this is a theory that was derived by Tom Kitwood, and we'll explore that more as we go through the session. We'll also look at how it can help someone both biologically, psychologically and socially, and how that can help them bond with their caregivers, but also have a good feeling of fulfilment. These photographs really speak for themselves. It helps us add clarity to what we do, and it helps us understand that the people we look after have had a life. We need to recognise that, and that's why life story work is so important. It helps us understand that people have had a variety of different experiences, both good and bad, and that they have had their own accomplishments, which they may be really proud of. Dementia doesn't relinquish any of this. It helps us remember that we need to promote this in a person. We need to help them understand and remember their accomplishments, and this itself can increase a feeling of fulfillment for a person living with dementia. Life story work is vital to trying to help someone remember and to feel good about themselves, which itself can reduce some psychological distress. Thomas Kitwood in 1997 developed the theory of personhood. He believed that personhood meant to understand that a person does not lose their identity when they're diagnosed with dementia. This was written in his book, Dementia Reconsidered. He believed that we must attend to the whole person, which is vital when providing dementia care. It's important that we see them as a unique and special, respect the past, which is vital when it comes to life story work. We must also focus on the positives and the abilities of the person. He highlighted that communication is key. We must nourish attachments, which again is something vital within life story work, which I'll go on to later. It helps us create community and maximises freedom and control. Life story work is an important principle and allows us to reflect and reminisce on the past. Life story work involves a person with dementia making a personal record of important experiences, people, and places in their life. This could include where they were born, their previous job role, the children, any important memories that brings them joy. It can include hobbies, any interests, any likes, dislikes, and what was important to them. It's important that we remain person-centred in this and involve the person with dementia as well. For example, asking them what is their most important memory. They may be able to recall some long-term memories, and this is really important that we involve them in this. It promotes autonomy and allows them to gain a sense of control. The way in which a person may create a life story is unique. Not everyone will have it in the same format, and that doesn't matter. It all depends on how the person perceives it. So, for example, some people will stick to one standard book that has all relevant memories in them. So, for example, it might start from birth, showing where they were born, their mum and dad. It might then progress to a job they had or where they met their husband or wife. It might then progress to children if they had children, and then it will progress through other life events. And it's kind of a book that tells their story. This is the most common one that I see because it allows them to have memories reflected in that book, but also a lot of people will add a bit of a description underneath. So, for example, if it's a picture with a childhood friend, they might write, "This is you at school with your friend Martha," for example. Just so that if they've forgotten who that person was, it adds a bit of clarity. It helps them feel less upset, less frustrated if they can't recall it. Some people may choose to have a memory box, which has a lot of different items in it. Some people may have, certain items like necklaces. It might be there was a certain item that meant a lot to them, such as a teddy bear or something like that, a childhood blanket. This allows all these things to be put in one place where it can be easily accessed. Some people like this, especially if it's a sensory related aspect. So it might be the childhood blanket or a fiddle muff in there as well. It might be a lot of different things all in the box where they can all be kept together and be used for that aspect of life story work. Some people again have collages, which are very similar to a book, except it might have other things in there, such as newspaper clippings, photographs, childhood drawings. There's more to it, so it might be a bit more touchy. You can use it for that sensory stimulation. Some people provide video recordings. So, for example, it might be a video cassette, VHS from years ago of a wedding or a christening or a childhood video. These are all just as important, and it might be something that really adds to that life story. So, including that is really important to some people. So, make sure not to forget that if someone has those memories. Again, there's lots of apps out there, so sometimes on your phone or on your tablets, there might be an app that allows you to do this. I can't name any in particular, but there are a lot out there, so it's worth looking at if the person with dementia feels comfortable with using technology. And then again, a personal profile, so it just gives every bit of information about that person, including their likes and dislikes, anything that will help them reduce anxiety, anything that they used to enjoy, such as their, previous employment, etc., and things like that. So life story work has a variety of different benefits, and this again is varied depending on the person, again implementing personhood and recognising that everyone will receive different benefits from it. Again, it's quite easy to forget yourself when you have dementia and what makes you you. Life story work allows you to identify your strengths, focusing on this and promoting autonomy. It helps us improve a sense of identity for the person. So, for example, recognising their previous achievements, such as it might be they had quite an important job role, they might have had a real impact on something, or something they just seem proud of. So it could be proud of their children, proud of their husband, proud of their wife, etc. It really depends on the person, but it can help them recognise what makes them them. It can bring them comfort. So, for example, some people might suffer with anxiety with dementia, and this might be because they forget important aspects of their life. So, for example, by reflecting through the use of life story work, it can really help them seek clarity, help them relax, help them reduce distress. It can also help us develop bonds between the caregiver and the person with dementia. So, for example, by sitting down and reflecting through a life story book, it can really help them build that bond and relationship. It can help them build trust, especially if they're in a new care environment as well, for example. So they might not trust the staff yet, they might not know the staff, but having that life story can help them sit down together. It can help them think, right, this is what makes me me. Is there anything we have in common? These are all things that can spur questions for the person living with dementia and their caregiver. Data also suggests that it can reduce agitation, so staff have seen benefits in care homes, for example, where there has been a significant decrease in agitation. They've also noticed quite an increase in quality of life once life story work has been done through triggering memories, helping them improve relationships with families, etc. And again, it'll help the healthcare assistant or the healthcare provider know the person enough to provide that person-centred care. So with life story work, there are always things to consider, and it's important that we recognise there may be some barriers, some difficulties that we might experience when trying to implement life story work. As everyone's individual, everyone has had different life experiences, and it's important to recognise that. So first off, again, it's important that we involve the individual with dementia. Even those who perhaps don't remember all their memories can still contribute to life story work. So asking them very short questions, for example, can you remember where you were born? They might be able to provide some information that we can add to the life story. It's vital that we promote autonomy, such as involving the individual, giving them decision making to help them feel fulfilled and give them a self-identity. It's also important that we offer help to the individual to do this independently as possible. So some people with dementia might just require a little bit of support, such as family support to help them remember all the memories that they might want to put on there, but to ensure that they do this as independently as they can, because this is a task that is very unique to them. It's a very emotion-provoking task as well, so to provide that support as and when required. So consider maybe addressing one topic at a time. So don't do all this in one go. It might just be one day we're going to focus on where they were born and focus on that alone, because it can be quite intimate. It can be quite upsetting for some as well. So below again, take breaks. It might become too overwhelming for the individual. It's about really recognising them again as an individual and giving them the time and space they need to do it. And last but not least, be sensitive, because not all memories are positive. So some of our patients have had really difficult upbringings or difficult pasts. It could be deaths in the family that still provoke a lot of feeling, a lot of upset. It's about just recognising that, knowing your patient and knowing when to do things. So, for example, it might be to address the positive natures of things and broach topics very, very delicately if needed. So I wanted just to bring a case study of a patient that I've supported in the past with life story work and how this has really helped them. So Gladys is an 86-year-old lady living with vascular dementia. She often forgets who her daughter is. Nicole, her daughter, visits once a week and is finding this really distressing. Gladys is often trying to leave the home due to wanting to pick up her daughter from school. So we had quite a few barriers, quite a few difficulties, but Life Story Work really provided some support and comfort to this lady, but also her caregiver and her daughter. So Life Story Work benefited them because it helped them reorientate to time and day. So as we know, dementia can pose difficulties in reorientating to time and day. So for example, being more confused in the afternoon time, being more confused once waking up, etc. And this can lead to difficulties. So within their life story, they made a book and it had some collage information there. So some important leaflets and things like that, and some newspaper cutouts which the daughter had put in there. But it helped us reorientate because she'd shown photographs of when she was born, dates, important dates and things like that to help her realise how long ago that was. And then she showed the progression of how things had changed. The start of the book was her as a child with her mum. Obviously, her mum was a child and then moved onwards to when she first had a daughter, to how things have changed now. So a photo of her at a graduation with a mother, a photo of them at a family wedding. And one that wasn't so long ago, so that she could really see how things had changed. And it was a nice, delicate way of addressing that reorientation. It helped with bonding, so it was things where they could laugh about particular memories, reminisce. Some of them brought even nice tears of people that are no longer with us, but they recognised that they'd had amazing memories with this person, and it really helped them become stronger as daughter and mother. Improved Gladys's mood and reduced distress. So, for example, she was no longer asking for her daughter to pick her up from school. She was starting to reorientate a lot more. She wasn't as upset about it. She was, feeling more comfortable. She was less frustrated. We started to notice those benefits. And it also improved her self-worth and purpose. So Gladys admitted that she felt better. We did quality of life scores both on Gladys and her daughter Nicole, and we noted a real improvement. So research has proven that life story work has a benefit. So I've just included a couple of studies here. So one study emphasised that it reduced the prevalence of depression in those with cognitive impairments, including those with dementia. So people's mood was increased, they felt less upset about the future, they felt more worthy, they felt like things were improving both mentally. It also emphasised that reminiscence improved cognition. So through recalling memories, it was kind of like its own cognitive stimulation therapy through recalling and remembering events. And research also shows that it shows more positive thinking. It helps them with mood changes and helps them feel more fulfilled. So Dementia UK have their own template as well that you can use if you wanted to make your own life story. So if you go on to Dementia UK's website and look at life story work page. Thank you very much. I hope this presentation has been helpful, and I'm here if anyone has any questions at all.